minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rocket Hour. Episode number, how many, Ricky? How many is it today?
100. Triple digits.
Triple digits. Listen, Magic Mike turned 300 yesterday, and they've been at this what seems like 20 years, and we've only done this for a few months. We're going to catch them. We're going to catch everybody. That's what happens when you do more shows than everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know what the pace is. I mean, they're doing 2 a week now. We're doing 3 a week. We're definitely going to catch them. I don't know how long it's going to take. Haven't done the math, but we also don't miss any weeks. Like, I think they might have missed like a Tuesday or a Monday or, like we don't miss. So, yeah, we are going to catch them. We still have a long ways to go to catch blinkers off, but I like the pace that we're on.
Yeah, I think we're going to catch everybody. And, like we've kind of said all along, we really don't have lives. So that always helps. When you don't have lives. Happy 100. Thank you. What are the odds you'd make 100? Not good. 6 to 1, probably, I would say, that we would have made it here. But we did. We made it. And to celebrate, I told people I'm going to do a Pick 4 ticket today, and I've done that. So I'm excited to go over that. Ricky and I both have Pick 4 tickets ready to go. We're also going to talk about the Steeplechase race as well at the end of the show. Cheers to No Lies. Vinny, I think you're in that boat, aren't you? I mean, it seems like we could talk about horses at midnight or 6 a.m., and you're always there and ready for me there, Vinny. So
yeah, I think the different for me at least, I have to like kind of turn it off.
Yeah.
Like I give you much more credit. At some point, like I'll ask you, I think asked you about like domestic spending like the day after. I was like, I'm done. And it's different, right? When you're at the track, I think you get a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I give you and Vinny more credit. You guys can talk about it much longer than I can. I'm usually, like, I have to mentally turn it off and, like, all right, let's rediscuss in a few days. But,
yeah,
it's one of those sports where it's like there's always a next day and or something to recap. So it's just interesting like that.
That's the thing. We've launched the sports side, and it's kind of like, okay, you get your work done, and and it's like, okay, wait for the games and they happen, but it's not the everyday grind where this is crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be wild. It is wild covering this. A lot of rain, there is, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Your dad was under on UT 8 wins. They have Steve Sarkisian. UT will be back. We'll see. Maybe not this year.
I'm not. Well, that's your show. I will say it was a big miss not getting Quinn Ewers when they had him like signed on, and then I decommitted, then went to Ohio State. But yeah, they do have Sark. I actually am higher on Sark than I am of any of the other coaches that have actually gone to Texas since Mac Brown. So I don't know, but I think 8 wins is a really good number. I don't know their schedule. I would have loved to come on yesterday to do the over-under thing.
To be fair,
schedule looks like, to be honest. But
to be fair, I went over. I don't think they're going under 8 wins. I think 8 is the right number. Steve Sarkisian, people have. I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to get into it. But I don't think he's any better coming into Texas than the guy they had before. I mean, when they hired him, that was supposed to be the savior. So
I was never a Tom Herman fan. I'm with you though. You know what it's like? It's kind of like the Jets with quarterbacks. Like the newest quarterback is the best quarterback. No, let's wait and see. I'm with you. I'm completely with you. I'm just saying, like, for all the guys, like I was never a Charlie Strong guy coming from Louisville. No. Like that was horrible.
Horrible.
Tom Herman was only good for the games they weren't supposed to win, aka Oklahoma. They hung around with LSU the year they went undefeated, and then they like lose games that they're supposed to win. So under him,
I'll sum up I'll sum up the Texas conversation like this. The last OU Texas game that Charlie Strong was involved in that I was at, a lot of the UT alum had, Tom Herman shirts on. Hire Tom Herman. We want Tom Herman. So they were very, very excited for that hire, and that didn't go anywhere. Steve Sarkisian, we'll see. I don't know. This guy has not done a whole lot as a head coach. So
one caveat: moving to the SEC should also help. So that's going to be not this year, but that's going to be something that if he can stick around until they move to the SEC, that might help as well. But it's going to be a tougher conference, with everything involved. We're not going to get into it, but that's just something to keep an eye on. He's in the Big 12 now.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's still around when they go to the SEC, whether it's next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. Let's just see if he makes that transition as well.
Yeah, I think Texas needs that SEC a lot more than even Oklahoma for recruiting purposes. They need to get back and get those players. That's the biggest problem with Texas. They don't have the players right now. All right, let's get into it, though. Saratoga, listen, I have to cut that off because I could sit there and talk for 45 minutes on that subject. So I'm not being rude. It's just I know where that's going, and it's going down a deep, dark road. So let's kick off Saratoga. We got a great four race sequence here. I know it's off the turf, but I still think these races are pretty competitive. Race number 7 will kick us off. Starter allowance race going 6.5 furlongs. Right now, the dirt is listed as muddy. I wouldn't expect an upgrade unless we get lucky and there's no more rain today. I think you're going to look at kind of a wet track all day long. Field of 7 because the 5 has scratched. All right, kick us off here, Ricky. I thought this was the toughest leg. How about you?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Usually with your win bets, I try to save that one for you, but I guess I'm not going to do that since it's a little different. But there are a few horses that you used that I didn't. I'll just go in order, and I'll start with the one Bayshore Foxes. Actually ran pretty well on a good sealed track on August 1st here at Saratoga in a Claimer 40 non-winners of 2 lifetime. I'm not really sure that's that much worse than this one. I don't particularly think it's a great starter allowance race for 2 reasons. One, these starter allowance races are for who have started for a claiming of 50 or less and haven't won and all that other condition. All these horses have 1 win or fit that other condition. So it's nothing special, to be quite honest with you. I think it's pretty similar. And then actually broke his debut over a sloppy seal track back at Oaklawn. So clearly this horse likes moisture in the ground. I think she makes a lot of sense, especially showing speed. The 2 Raffinity is interesting, right? Because we don't really know what she is because we've seen her at 1 waiver maiden claiming prior to her win, and that was at Aqueduct in April, but they were all maiden special weight races before. She disappointed as a favorite in 3 of those races prior to the win for Rob Atras. She didn't run poorly over the sloppy, the muddy. I almost combined the words. I don't think she was bad, but you're right. Like this maiden claiming race is lower than the starter allowance, but the maiden special weight races have the potential to be better depending on who's in the field. These types of horses are interesting because you just don't know where they fall. If she's really bad here, then she's a claimer. If she's really good here, maybe she's a low-level state bred allowance. Maybe you can touch on that. Maybe we'll find out. We don't know the answer quite yet. The barn switch is interesting as well. Definitely a barn downgrade to Oscar Barrera over Rob Atras. The other horse that I used was Air Cavalry. Was in a really, really, really competitive group last time out, losing to Lime. The same group that Bayshore Foxes ran. I mean, not the same, race itself, but the same conditions, more or less. Both taken off. This is a muddy track, which we're going to get today. Really didn't do anything wrong, to be quite honest with you. And had she won that race, she wouldn't be in this group. So I think it's going to be really, really tough not to use her. I'm interested to see what you think of her, because again, you can make the argument she didn't have an excuse, but she was 9-1, so maybe she wasn't quite good enough. But she looked good over the muddy as well. I'll be honest, don't know a lot about Matthew Bryce O'Connor, but I mean, this horse was more than good enough to win. So that's where I'm going. I'm going the 1, 2, and 6. I know you're using a bunch more. So I'll let you kind of take it from here.
Yeah, 1, 2, 6 are on my ticket. I went 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. So I'm going to go 5 deep to start it off. I thought this was really wide open, and I'll throw Nick's comment up there now. I'm not going to try to say the 3's name, but I like the 3 here. Irad Ortiz, back aboard for the second straight time. Reynolds has a knack for winning these types of races up here. In these lower kind of, and I call a starter allowance at Saratoga a little bit of a lower race. I just think this horse is just kind of the one that has been amongst these ranks. We see this horse time and time again kind of run well, not great, but is around. And this is a weak running of a starter allowance. I don't like these horses very much at all. So I thought the 3, just the consistency of running at this level, has a shot here. I did not want to get beat by that horse. The other one you didn't talk about was the 7 Before You. The big one here for the 7 for me, it was kind of a late ad because of the sloppy track, because we saw it last time out. Got it on a sloppy track and romped and won by 5. So I just thought, well, coming right back here, Ortiz aboard once again. I kind of thought the 7 was one we needed to use. So I went 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. If I had to go with a top pick, I mean, right now, and I'm debating between the 2 and the 3. I've got the 2 on top. We talk about this all the time. It's a barn downgrade for sure, but it's 28 days since the last race. You just kind of got to hold them together for these last 28 days, right? Like if it's been a long layoff and it's like, oh boy, I don't know if that horse can repeat. But sometimes, even though it's a barn downgrade, that horse will come right back and fire off the claim when it's been a short period since the last race. So I would put the 2 on top. This would be like a $5 win wager if I was doing my normal thing, though. I just don't like anybody in this race. That's why I went 5 deep and just kind of hoping to get through here. Let's get to some of the comments. Vinny says, no love for Chad Brown horse getting Lasix for the first time. You want to talk about the 8? Neither one of us used the 8. What are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that was the one that I just left off. So this is my issue. I think she's going to be better going. She seems to be better going a little bit longer. Let's break this down. We'll throw the turf race out. I think that's fair. So if we just look at those 2 races, we have all 3 at Churchill Downs actually. But if we take the turf one out, debuts made in special weight 9th by 9 again, and it says in the comment 5 wide, no factor. Then shows speed at the maiden claiming level. I know we don't see her. I have a tough time taking a short price in a starter allowance group that I don't think is very good. I think Chad would be the first to tell you that. Making a return off of what is that? A 10-month layoff, or 9.5 months, almost 9 3/4 months, whatever it is. There's 2 ways of thinking, and maybe I'm wrong here. Either this field isn't very good, so the layoff, could help, and then she just runs it and takes off. Or she's just not very good, and I'm going to have to choke down a short price. I'm not sure. I'm not willing to do that. I was surprised that you didn't use her because you're going much deeper. I'm going deep, a little bit deeper in another leg. But I don't know. The Lasix thing, it's not a concern, but she showed speed last time out. No Lasix, maiden claiming 50. It's kind of similar to the 2, right? Like made in special weight, then drops in for a tag. Now what do we see? It's like we don't really know what the 2 is. If we don't really know what the 2 is, I don't really know what the 8 is. Well, now I see you've included the 8, which I think we have to do an updated dollar amount as well. Because it's not going to be.
So Dennis's point, I'm going to bring this comment up here after I update that. There we go.
I hate the 8. I don't know.
In my situation, it makes sense because it's there. He says, Aaron, just want to say to the only 2 horses you're throwing out, the 4 understandable, and then you're throwing out Chad Brown, Tyler Gaffalione at 9-2. And he said that, I thought, you know what? It's really stupid to get beat by that horse. If you're 5 deep already, going 6 deep, you add $6 to the ticket. I'm with you, Dennis. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in that 8. I don't want to get beat by Chad Brown right off the bat. So I like it. I like that we're all here. We're working together.
It's worth it. For $6, it's because I guess we could walk through this real quick. The deeper you go in a race, it becomes a lot easier to just add one more horse. Now, if you were going, so for example, Aaron has the 1 in the last race. If he were to add one more horse, it's now double the dollar amount. So because he went deep, it's not as big of a change. Yeah, I completely agree here. For $6, adding Chad Brown off the layoff just makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, and look, I'm not a fan of just not using a horse, but the 4 really should not be in this group, to be quite honest with you. I mean, if you like the 3 at all, the 3 beat the 4 pretty easily. So
now listen, you're not talking me into the 4, Samich. It's not going to happen. I'm not putting the 4 on the ticket.
Well, I mean, yeah, 1 for 1 at the distance, but the other 2 races were a half a furlong different. It's not like we're going from 7 to 5.5 or like a mile and a quarter. How about this? If Heeman Harkey beats us, which he's one of the 4, he's one of the 3 or 4 jockeys I said I would never use. Now, granted, Jalen Samuel did win last week, I believe.
Yep.
If Heeman Harkey wins, I will personally do something that Aaron, can make up within reason. Like if I have to wear like a dunce cap, I will do that. If I have to wear like a Pittsburgh Steelers shirt, I'll do that. But I mean, Heeman Harkey and Michael Simmons, no, thank you, ever. So yeah.
Well, I mean, raising it to $36, no big deal to throw in Chad Brown. Raising it to $42 to throw in Heeman Harkey, maybe that's where we draw the line. Fear the Hark. And yeah, the 4 is a toss. And there you go. Samich can send you the bunny suit to wear. See, you can wear the bunny suit if 4 wins the race.
No, I won't do that. That's to me, that's not within reason.
That's a Samich family thing. We don't want to infringe on that. So, But shout out to Dennis for kind of pointing that out. I think that makes sense. I think that totally makes sense. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 for me. So everybody but the 4 in the first leg. All right, let's go to leg number 2. This is why I bet win bets. All right. So this one is off the turf. So that's why you see all the scratches here. Let's see. We're left with a field of 6 horses. So the 3 is out, the 5 is out, the 8, the 9, the 10. As you can see, they're all out. The only main track only is the 2 Musical America. Decent figures, I guess, for the 2, but really hasn't finished close to winning in a long time. This one was the one that really got hurt by being off the turf. Kind of where are you leaning in this race?
Yeah, I just look. I think Charlie Baker is a nice trainer, but he clearly hasn't gotten this horse to even stay where Rob Atras had this horse. You're using this horse, so I don't want to say anything too bad, but I can't get over what I saw last time out. Mm-hmm. And to be quite honest with you, I kind of think this horse is better on the grass. I'm not really sure, maybe not at this point, but if you just broke his career down into turf versus dirt, I don't think the dirt wins that argument. I really don't. And you're right. I mean, on the turf, 10 of the 15 starts have finished in the money. In the dirt, were 13 of 24 with a ton of seconds. So I kind of think the turf performances were better, even though we haven't seen this one on the turf in a long time. Obviously, by Malibu Moon, that would make sense. I just couldn't get over that. For the last race, if you just scratch the last race out and just said the 6x3, I can get on board with that. But to lose by almost 18 lengths for what wasn't any problems other than going wide, I had no interest. 5-2 is also a price that I don't want to be involved with, to be quite honest. But could I see it? Sure. I think there have to be a lot of other bad races from other horses, though, for me to get there.
Yeah, so let's talk about the one, because I really believe the one. I almost went short here, and the big problem is the layoff. And then Dennis is like, who's the dirt horse? It's definitely the one. The one is definitely the horse that looks like the dirt horse to me, and I totally agree with this comment. This one is Lone Speed for Danny Garlett, working lights out, Sias up, wire to wire off this layoff. I'll take the one here with Sias. Vinny says he's agree. Here's another. I'm going to single this one in the pick 6. It's a short field. You drew the rail. You've got a speed rider. You got a horse that looks like the Lone Speed in the race. You got a horse with dirt form on a off the turf race. Even this stat, Gargan hits pretty well off layoffs. I almost just went single here. Were you that high on I know you used 4 horses though, so maybe you weren't that high on the one. Do you not trust the layoff?
No, it's not even that. Well, so okay, I'll break down the other ones. I know you used the 6 as well. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Parlor's too talented for Mike Maker to just leave off. Clearly, Mike Maker thinks this is a spot now that he can win regardless, just because of the talent. So that's the thing you want to tell yourself. If you want to go against Mike Maker and Tyler Gaffleone with a horse that clearly is more talented, I don't personally. If someone does, then go for it. The 7, Attentive, 3 wins of 14 on the dirt. I do agree. Losing Mike Maker, but getting Diodoro, who's done really well at this meet, in these types of spots, mind you, that you got to factor that in as well. If we're talking Diodoro in a stakes, we might be having a different conversation. Diodoro at a claiming level, that's exactly where he belongs here at Saratoga. So I'm with you. And then the 11 I thought was interesting too. If we're just looking at the class level and the 2, well, let's look at the 2 turf races claiming 35,000 at Gulfstream this year. So to kick off the year, he ran pretty well in those. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know this is not, it's not a turf race, but when you combine those efforts at Gulfstream, which we would both admit are better runners in January, February, than they are now, and then you look at 3 for 10 on the dirt, I'm not sure why. I don't know. This is really tough because I'm only leaving 2 off here, but I guess maybe to Dennis's point, maybe I should have considered using more, but there's a lot of question marks with all of them. Like, how do you leave the 6 off? I just made a good case for the 11, I think, and the 7 has been pretty consistent at this level. So maybe the 1 gets the biggest upgrade, but
I'm totally with you on the 6. I do not want Mike Maker to beat me, and I'm totally with you. Why is he even leaving this horse in? It doesn't make any sense on paper. So it's like this is the hottest trainer at the meet right now. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think you have to use the 6 here. And so I put him on there. I was between the 2 and the 7, and my thought process came down to this, and this could be, I could get burned by the 7 here, but I just feel like the 2 is so consistent, consistently running on dirt, where all these other ones are switching surfaces. It just may be a situation where this horse is just the most comfortable one on the track in this race. Do I like the 2 as a racehorse? I don't. I really don't. But if all the other ones are like, yeah, I'm kind of iffy on whether I even want to be out here today, in the 2, it's like, well, I'm on the dirt, and this is where I belong, or at least where he's been running. I'm kind of with you. I don't know. This way back, the horse has better turf numbers. But he's just more comfortable. He's got Rosario, and he just kind of, sits back and just closes down the stretch and wins this thing. I'm not going to be shocked, and I didn't want to be knocked out by the only main track, only entry. But I'm with some of the other people. I almost said, let's just single this one up here. I think he's the one to beat, but there's a couple others that are intriguing. I'll be honest. If the 7 wins this race, I'll be super pissed. Super pissed. And hopefully you're alive so I can root for you because I will be super pissed.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be alive to this point. I mean, because the 4 is not winning the 7th race. So you're going to be alive. I just can't get over that last race for the 2. There would have to be a drastic improvement. Like to your point, you're using a horse that you just talked about, Hugh, you don't really like at 5-2. If I don't really like a horse, it better be 12-1. Like, you know, at 5-2, and I get it. You're getting Joel Rosario, so that makes sense. But not for me. It's not. I can't get there with that too. But
so Samich says 7 is too slow for 7 furlongs. Yeah, most of the races have come at routes. I'm trying to look back through the old form here. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of 7 furlong form, as in none. So that could be an issue.
Okay, so we've seen this before. So this would be my question to Mike, who now is on the personal side of this. I guess he's off the back end. This group is going to be bunched up. So how far back is the 7 going to be? I don't know. I mean, we're going to see, again, a field of 6. I say this is like 2x2x2. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be real close and it's going to be real slow. I don't see any speed just trying to go with anyone. I also don't know if the speed is good enough to go by themselves, to be quite honest with you, especially in a race that's taken off the grass. Like, you know, so where does that speed show up? I don't like good speed on the turf going to muddy and expecting that to hold up. They're going to tire out. So, yeah, it is back to 7 furlongs now. I mean, Robertino Diodoro doesn't think the horse doesn't fit. So, you know, it's one of those things where we don't know what he's thinking. We don't. Unless someone has that information. He's finished 1st or 2nd in 10 of the 20 races here. So if he thinks that horse fits, then so do I. That's just the way I am.
Well, I'll say this, our Stephanie says, plotter, Samich is bringing up 6 or 7 links off 49 halves. This is 46, 47 half, probably. He's probably right on that. Sometimes Mr. Diodoro can magically get them to run fast early. So that's the only worry. That's my personal worry. I think this horse is dog shit, to be honest with you. And if he was with a different trainer, I wouldn't give him a second thought. But I know that Robertino, he just gets up earlier than all of us and just works a little harder than all of us. He might magically get this horse to get a little closer to the lead today. I'm just saying.
You know who we thought that of too? Fort Peck, who was the longest shot on the board.
Yeah.
Fort Peck looked like the second coming of Funny Side.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it at that.
It's hard to argue that, and you don't necessarily know when he's going to pop that out there.
Well, okay, so and here's the other part. Yeah, here's the other part that's interesting. We talk about this all the time, maybe off air more than on air. Sometimes you just get a feeling for something, and you can't really explain why, right? Especially in this game. I kind of have that feeling with this horse, and he might just be bad. He might just be horrible. We'll find out. But if he runs a good race, even if he doesn't win, say he runs 2nd or 3rd and it's by 3-4 lengths, I think you'd respond. You would text me and say, that was a pretty good use. We'll see how the race run. We'll see.
It's just one of those things. This is what sucks about racing sometimes is you're scared of a trainer. That's the use.
Right. Okay. And if you're scared of a trainer, you have 2 choices when you play the pick 4. You use them or you don't. I'm using it. It's not like you can play it in the middle. I don't have the symbols at all.
Listen, when you said sometimes you get a feeling, I thought, oh boy, this is going to get bad. This is going to get really, really bad.
Isn't it true though? Sometimes, like you talked about the Mike Maker thing, I think in race 7 in the first race, it's just like you don't feel comfortable not using, a horse. Yeah. I mean, he's only at 25%. Whether he gets up earlier than us or not, it's 25%. Numbers don't lie. So
No, listen, I get feelings all the time. I don't want to talk about them on this show, but I do get those feelings sometimes, Ricky. So take that for what it's worth. All right, let's move on to race number 9. It's stakes time at Saratoga on a Wednesday. Pretty damn good race here. The Bolton Landing, 5.5 furlongs, $120,000 purse for 2-year-old fillies. A field of 12. Here's the deal. They've kept the MTOs in because this may come off. The 11 and 12 are main track onlys. Obviously, if this race is on the turf, they will be scratched and we'll get a field of 10. If this race comes off, it'll get a little wild, and make sure to check back for updated tickets. All right, Ricky, let's go on here. What are you getting a feeling for when you look at this race?
I hate these types of races, especially when it's taken off the grass, just because you have a lot of horses. You know, for example, I'm just kind of running through. We have like 7 horses here that have won their only race. You know, so it's like you just don't know how they're going to respond. And any like I think most trainers would tell you we don't really know how they're going to respond to yielding turf. I mean, you can go to the pedigree side of things. I don't believe anything with pedigree with these young horses. If you're making a move, that's one thing. Like, how's, for example, the 7 knees and hips. Oh, knees and hips. Jeez. How is Tom Amos know if this horse is going to connect on a yielding turf course? Like, you know, you just don't know. So with that being said, I kind of just played this the same way that I would have normally and just hope that it's going to work out. We have 2 of the same horses. I thought the 3 Derry Nan, I think that's how you say it, was pretty good on debut. Again, even money favorite. So she kind of did what she was supposed to. It's interesting though, debuts on the turf by Quality Road. So that was interesting to me, right? Because when you think of Quality Road, you don't necessarily think of turf. But again, when it comes to Clement, you kind of just assume. I'm interested to see on what Samich thinks of this bell curve speed that I think we're going to get from Derry Nan, because her last workout was 36-3. Now, I'm not a workout guy, but clearly she's gotten faster in the mornings. Now, maybe that race has accelerated that. I don't really know. I don't care about how they're working or their times unless it's something like this when we don't know a lot. This horse was interesting. And the 4, who you're not using, Flip My ID. It's a great name, by the way. Wins at 5 furlongs on the turf, takes the race, and is just gone. I really have nothing bad to say about this horse. And the supplement, I always get intrigued by the supplements, right? It's like, why would you supplement a horse if it doesn't make any sense? This kind of screams dirt pedigree to me as well. Like, I don't really know. I'm very confused. And the fact that I'm using him and you're not makes me a little scared. Maybe it's the maker thing again, but I don't know. I think this horse is interesting. Again, state bred race there. Last time we saw rain on the turf, it was all closers. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. The only turf race that we're going to see is that steeplechase race, which is not an indication of literally of anything. So, right. And again, we're not going to get into the cones, but they literally have to run on the outside so they don't mess up the turf course. So, yeah. Okay, so this is an extremely weak field. Fair enough, according to our Stephanie, and I don't dispute that. Clearly, Mike Maker thinks it was good enough to run here, though. And again, we've seen Maker pull off some horses where we're like, whoa, not accusing him of anything, but it's just like everything seems to be going right for Mike Maker. Luis Saez, same thing. And whether you want to admit it or not, he's at the top of the trainer standings. We say this all the time. And then I'll leave the 5 to you because I don't really feel too strongly about the 5, so I'll just let you talk about that one. It's interesting to me that sometimes we look back at each other. I remember who was technical analysis was like 12-1 for Chad Brown, and you're like, how did some people not use that horse? And there are
Yeah.
other ones like that too. We're not talking about like Nick's Go, even money favorite. We're not talking that, but they're just some horses that have really good connections, good rider, and like, how did the betting public let that happen? That's kind of what I have a feeling here. Now, maybe Flip My ID just stinks compared to this group. We're about to find out. Again, I did use the 5 Poppy Flower, but I was really, truly interested in the 3 and 4 more than the 5. So I know you used the 3 as well. So I'll let you talk about a few that you used that I didn't.
Well, my top pick here is actually the 9. I really like the 9 Chi-Town Lady, and here's why. Okay, this horse debuted for Wesley Ward at Keeneland, in the spring meet, was 1-5 and ran like a 1-5, just dominated, won by 3 lengths. John Velasquez aboard that day. Usually horses like that for Wesley that win like that at Keeneland, they're going on to bigger and better things. They're probably going to Ascot, or they're going to, something big after that. Horse off 129 days since that last race. So obviously something happened, but this horse won like, hey, that could be one of Wesley's best 2-year-olds. Now shows up here. I like her a lot in this spot. I like the 8-1 price. And also that race was won on the dirt. So if it does come off, I think she stays in here for sure. And I think she's got a big shot. So I like the price on the 9. The 5, yeah, I'm kind of with you. Wesley Ward horse, it took a little while to get the maiden broke. Got beat by a couple of decent horses, though, the first 2 races. And then last time out looked pretty good. I just think she's just kind of logical in this spot. And I'm thinking you can't play one, Wesley, without the other. That burned us. I think that was last week. You missed a ticket. The other Wesley Ward one. So I wanted to make sure and put those horses in. I want to touch on the 3, Derry and Ann. I was on live at Blinkers Off when this race happened. And I think you were in the comment section, or maybe you got on right after we went off the air and we were talking. We're like, I don't know if that horse is good, or that horse got a really good trip, or if that field wasn't great. Remember, this is a New York bred. That was a New York bred maiden race. Rosario gave this like, if you're going to call him the bell curve, way up high on the bell curve. It was a Hall of Fame type ride. Even money. So obviously the horse had some hype, but this is a different ball game. And I don't know if she gets that trip. I didn't want to not play her because I remember coming away from that race and saying, that's a nice horse, but I couldn't go like short with her either. So then I just thought, yeah, with the, the 2 horse, another one broke the maiden at Belmont, got a pretty good speed figure. Wanted to throw that one in as well. I know Michelle Nevin's not having a great meet. I think this horse has some talent. So 2, 3, 5, 9 is where I went. I'm really interested in those Ward runners and the 3, especially.
Yeah, it's funny. We use time form like a good amount. I use it a good amount. I'm not gonna say how much you do or don't use it, but I know we both use it to some degree. I guess I'm gonna divulge what time form said just to make a point. They went with 2, 8, and 9. I couldn't disagree more. Which, and I like, and now you did use the 2 and the 9. I'm with you. By the way, if this race comes off, I want every part to do about the 9. Every part. I'm just going to assume that this is staying on. I just looked at the weather while you were talking, and it looks like it's going to hold off at least through hopefully 7 o'clock or so. So I'm not going to use the 9 if that's the case. If it does come off, I will switch, and I will be including the 9. I'm sorry. Michelle Nevin has just been brutal at this meet. Like, holy crud. If I went and they are literally, Aaron, they are not running. We're not talking like Chad Brown, not hitting, just missing, like not running a lick. And this 8-1 morning line, I think David Aragon is the best morning line maker in the country. That's just my opinion. I know I'm a Naira guy, but I fully believe, and again, maybe that goes along with the time form thing, because he also has time form connections and works there or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't get myself to use the 2 at all. I wanted to ask you, about the 8. fulminate. This is the horse that I would love to bet against. You know, in horse racing, you can't bet against horses. You can't short horses. But I would love to take 3 to 5 that this horse doesn't win. I don't know how that would work. The 8's getting huge. Okay, so this is the big point. The big point. Oh, I'll make 2 points. And then I hope Aaron agrees with me. First of all, Mark Casse at Saratoga has been me at Saratoga. You know how many wins we both have? This amount. We have 0. You know what the difference is? I don't train any horses for a living. That's 1. 2, we know the races at Gulfstream at this time of year are usually extremely weak. There was a Gulfstream Wesley Ward runner. You're not going to know off the top of your head. I'll try to look. Maybe 3 to 5. Runs horribly. Loses at Gulfstream. Runs second by like a neck. Finishes up the track. And Andy Serling, who I know maybe a lot of people don't like, said, well, there was no reason to put – if that horse couldn't win at Gulfstream in the summer, not going to win here. Now, granted, this horse is won at Gulfstream, so it's a little different. But it's like, no, we're thinking of 2 different horses. We're thinking of –
No, you said Mark Casse hadn't won a race at this meet. And
Casse. I thought we were talking about the Ward runner. I was like, I know that horse was awful.
I think Mark Casse won a grade 1 Saturday, but go on.
Well, okay, coming into when I downloaded this, he hadn't won any, which was a long time ago. Okay, nonetheless, it's like I'm not using a Gulfstream horse coming over the summer at this price. Now, Sias is a massive upgrade, but you didn't use the horse either. So what was your reasoning behind it? And I know you use time form.
I can keep it a lot more concise. I don't want a Gulfstream horse coming up here to Saratoga, and I can move on. I mean, it's really that simple. I think these horses up here in New York are better that are stabled up here. Okay, and I think if Mark Casse thought this was a really, really nice horse, he would have brought it up here with Saratoga to the stable and win a maiden special weight for $100,000. I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to.
Fair, but let me counteract the point. He thinks now the horse is good enough to run at this at 7-2. So clearly Aragona thinks so as well. And I'm assuming Aragona, you know, he goes off what he thinks the odds are going to be. So clearly people are expecting this horse to run. And that's why I'm curious, because we're so against it.
I mean, I don't really care what other people think or what the morning line is. I look at the race and I don't think he's good enough, or she's good enough, because I don't think she's used to running against these kind of fields. The one thing I will say, the Luis Saez factor is a big time factor in this, but I still think, you know, this is a horse you can play against and leave off. And that's what I was thinking, because I just don't think these Gulfstream horses are going to come up here and win at these kind of races, and they don't do it very often. And that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, I was just saying more so if you're like me with the Gulfstream thing, but maybe you were willing to consider this as an exception because of the circumstances of the race, getting Luis Saez. I'm with you. I'm willing to play that angle until it proves us wrong. I just thought that maybe this was one of those exceptions to the rule. That's all I was saying.
So if the race comes off the turf, here's a question. If the race comes off the turf, thoughts on the 6? I think the 6 becomes a little bit of a player here for sure because of 2 wins, but it's another situation. It's a horse coming from Parks in Delaware to Saratoga. It's not something that, you know, you're going to absolutely love to play. Now, here's the deal. You don't know who's going to be in the race at that point, but one horse we probably do know is the 11, and the 11 I think would be tough if it comes off. And the 12, another Wesley Ward horse on the dirt, then went to Ascot, now back here. You know, I mean, I just think there'll be tougher horses than the 6 if it comes off. I probably, if I'm guessing, I would say probably not. I probably will not use the 6, even if it comes off.
The only reason I'm using the 6 is because I have a literal affinity for Jose Lezcano. That would be about it, to be quite honest. Because, I don't know what that was in the background. For the record, I'm pretty sure Got Stormy, as we talk about Mark Casse winning the 4-star Dave, because I just looked it up. Last week he had 4 runners. Got Stormy was one of them on Saturday. The other three, none of them finished in the top 3. So maybe that the caveat that if you have a Got Stormy, who, by the way, went off at 12-1, I believe, where a lot of people were against, not naming names because I was one of them. I'm not going to get, I don't know. Yes, he did a nice job, but I'm just saying it's like, great. He has one win at the meet, and it happens to be Got Stormy, who's fantastic at Saratoga. So I'm going to end it there.
All right, we beat this race to death. Let's go on to the final race. And once again, the maiden claimers will round us out here at Saratoga today. It's race 10 on the card. New York bred, maiden claiming $40,000, 3-year-olds and upward. Field of 9, no scratches here. This race originally scheduled for the dirt, so don't have to worry about any surface changes for any of these. I love a horse in here. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I use the horse that you love, which is the 1. I'll talk about the 3, though. Tourist is a dirt sire, as far as I'm concerned with the 3. Chad Brown is always going to get bet with a first-time starter on the turf. I'm pretty sure that's like the law of horse racing in New York. Or maybe Keeneland, wherever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the law. Or Gulfstream in the winter. Like, that is the law. I don't think you could even get around that unless the horse is really bad and there's talk about it. This horse got bet on debut at 2.8. So that's what I'm looking at. So 5-2 comes in and it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. And I think Chad would admit to you, not having run since April 23rd, unless this horse was hurt. I'm not aware of that, by the way. Probably didn't belong on the turf to begin with. Now comes in. The only reason I went a little deeper is because this is the type of Chad Brown race that we kind of personally, like this meet that I've seen, we're entering. What week are we entering? This is week 6, correct? Or week, right?
5.
Oh, 5. Okay, right. There's 7. 5 out of 7. We've kind of gotten this thing where, like, it's one of these Chad Brown horses I don't love, and they kind of seem to run well. As opposed to the ones where we do love, we're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. 3-5, double entry, and they look like crap. So I'm with you on the 1, and I'll let you kind of go deeper. I am just not taking an even money morning line favorite at this level and being okay with it. As a single, again, you felt like you had to go deeper in the first leg, so I get that. Otherwise, your ticket would be $72. The 1's supposed to win. I think that race last time out proved that. I just don't know what the 3 is. And when I don't know something about Chad Brown, I just feel inclined to use it. So that's where I'm at. I use the 1 and the 3, but I'll let you talk about the 1.
You know, I used to, or not used to, but I always have the thoughts of you do of like, I'm not going to use the favorite in these kind of races. The favorite is winning these races at Saratoga a lot this year. It's unbelievable. I'll be very clear. It was a decision for me with the 3 not to put the 3 on because Chad Brown is winning these types of races. But I just look at this and say, my goodness, the 1 has a speed rider aboard. Looks like he could be gone on the front end. First time off the claim for Brittany Russell, who I think is very, very good, and has come up here to Saratoga and had some nice runners. Like I said, Saez, I'll say it again, gets aboard for a trainer, and you kind of called it. I don't know what you called it yesterday, but Saez is picking up these like pickup mounts, meaning
catch mounts.
Catch mounts, exactly. It was good. It was very good. I liked it. Where a trainer comes in and it's like, oh, we're so excited. We got a horse in Saratoga. We've got it spotted well. We think this horse can win. And then Saez gets aboard those kind of mounts. It happens right here. I just think there's going to be such a pace advantage for the 1 over the 3. I think the 1's gone, gate to wire. And I think the deadliest kind of angle in these low levels we talk about is speed. You know, maiden claiming 40,000 New York breds, not a lot of them really want to pass each other. So if the 1 gets that trip, I think he's gone. So I singled the 1 here. I just think it just looks like a gate to wire winner, similar to the 1 in race 8. I debated on, okay, maybe I single the 1 in race 8 and go 1-3 here, but there was just enough in that 8th race. You know, it's a surface switch, and that horse is coming off a layoff. We're here. We have proof. We know what this horse is. You know, and Luis Saez was aboard last time, so rides through the claim even. I just think the 1 is gone here. So I singled the 1. And, I don't love going short in these maiden claiming races, but we've seen it this meet. The favorites are winning these races this year.
So I want to point out one thing to your point. Brittany Russell, I believe, has 2 wins at this meet.
Mm-hmm.
Just won the Tail of the Cat with Wonder Where Craig Is.
Mm-hmm.
With who? Take a guess. Who was aboard?
Oh, Luis Saez was aboard.
Okay. The other one that she won was Yodel Who I think.
Yep.
That's right. Who was aboard in that one?
Well, I guess for sake of argument, you're talking Saez to make a point, but I really don't know the answer to that one.
It is Luis Saez, and
Yeah.
that is my point. Luis Saez, that's the point with these catch mounts that I was making, because last year or the year before or even before that, it was IRAD. That is why Luis Saez is winning this the jockey meet, the jockey standings, title, whatever you want to call it, because of these catch mounts. And the race, the last race that Brittany Russell had, defy expectations, it wasn't Luis Saez, it was Manny Franco, which even proves, maybe to the further point that we talked about, I believe yesterday or maybe last week, the jockey agent. Mm-hmm. Maybe we're getting some, interesting Kieran saying, you might want this one, you might not want this one. We like this one because whatever he seems to get aboard, Brittany Russell's got the horse for him. So again, maybe Manny Franco's just really, really bad right now also, which I think you'd be the first to admit. So would I. But he's getting these mounts, catch mounts. I'm happy I used a term that you're now going to use for now on.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I like that. I like that a lot. So I like the catch mounts. That's good. Let's see how bad this field is. The 3 Brown off turf, $50K price, and dropping right in for a tag. If it wasn't the owners, it wouldn't be Brown. Saez gets off the second choice, who he rode 4 times in a row. Tried the 1, and everyone else on this race wouldn't win at Finger Lakes. Yeah, so yeah.
I agree.
It's not good at all. Second choice, and now Nick says the 6 looks like he's beating at the door at this level. Santana been good. Also ran on an off track. The off track stuff is good. Good point. I'm with Dennis on the point he made. Saez has been on this horse 4 times and lost 4 times, and I think just said bye-bye. I'd be mad if the 6 won because I'm a Ricardo fan, as you know, but I don't have any interest in the 6.
No, me either. I try to stay away from horses that have done it at this level a lot, to be quite honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this horse is a better dirt runner, but I'm going to make this point. You don't look at your time form, your programs, whatever you're looking at for a minute. If I told everyone who's listening, and Aaron, you include yourself, Chad Brown is dropping a horse from maiden special weight to the maiden claiming in his second start, you'd say, all right, what price do I have to take? Because I expect that horse to run. And in a lot of years past, this 3 runs off the screen. It's just they don't need him in the barn, to be quite honest with you. This horse isn't going to make them money. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about a Klarovich, Peter Brandt, they don't care about the 40,000 that they're going to get for this tag. They could care less. I'm sorry. I wish we all had the money problems that they do. They don't care. They really, really don't care. They want to win. I don't know. Maybe the horse is bad. But to your point, if we both like the 1 on top and you clearly like the 1 much better, I'll take a horse that we really don't know something about as opposed to the 6. We kind of know what the 6 is. And on the 1 is even money for a reason. Luis Saez should beat this field. Or his horse should beat this field.
He should just get out in front and be gone. I just think this horse is going to be awfully tough against these other ones that just aren't very good. All right, let's sum up the ticket, and then we'll get to the Steeplechase just real quick. You got a $36 ticket there. Sum it up for us.
Yeah, so I'll just start in race 7. I went 1, 2, and 6. I'm not going to say too much since Aaron used them all, except the Heeman Harkey horse, who we probably just walked into the Travers winner circle. This horse is probably going to be the second coming. Or no, she's a 3-year-old filly, so she maybe going to turn into Malathot. This race 8, I thought was interesting. The 1 definitely, it's Teos, I don't know. I think it's Taos, whatever. Gets the big upgrade as it goes to the dirt, I believe. But there are other horses I'm interested. Parlor, again, a lot of talent as well. We talked about the Diodoro with Attentive, where I guess we're going to find out what he is. And then I use the 11, who has you have to go back and look, but makes sense here. The 9, the Bolton Landing Stakes. The 5, Poppy Flower, is going to be pretty interesting. It took a while to break that maiden, Aaron, but she got much better. Now has a win under her belt. Maybe going a little bit longer than the 5 will help as well. But I'm really interested in this Mike Maker, Flip My ID, Irad Ortiz 8-1, and then the final race 1 and 3. I just kept it real simple. The 1's supposed to win, but I'm interested in this 3 multiple expansion. So race 7 through 10, I went 3 by 4 by 3 by 2, and that's a $36 ticket.
Mine's 36 as well. I went all but the 4 in the first race. So if the 4 wins, I don't know. Maybe I'll never do this again. Race number 8, I went 1, 2, 6. Race 9, I think the stakes is tough. I'll make sure to check back if this race does come off the turf. We handicapped it for on the turf. I'm really interested in those Wesley Ward runners. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they run here. I think they're both pretty darn good. And the 3 for Christophe Clement, interesting horse as well. And then I singled up to the 1. I just think it's a gate-to-wire winner for Luis Saez. Looks to be lone speed to me, and breaking from the rail, lone speed, 6 furlongs. I like it. And even though it's a maiden claimer, I've got confidence in the 1 to get the job done. $36 ticket for me. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I think it's a good little card. Really, that 8th race is the only one that really kind of got ruined a bit. All right, let's talk about the Steeplechase. Here's why I want to talk about it. Let me scroll up to it now. She's back. And when I say she, the Mean Queen, the 6 horse. This was the horse earlier in the meet on July 28th, was 6 in front and galloping to a win. Veers to the left, throws the jock off, doesn't finish the race, obviously. So can the Mean Queen get the job done today? She's currently 4-5 as we sit 1 hour and 10 minutes from first post.
There's only one thing I want to reiterate. Please, if you find money on the floor, go buy yourself a beer, go buy yourself a sandwich, go pay your rent, go do something. Do not waste your time betting this race. I'm not saying not to watch it. So that's the first thing. I mean, is this? I'm going to take a shot with this 3, Baltimore Bucko. I kind of think she's a little faster. Now, I do think it's between the 3 and the 6. I would love the 6 to be running down the 3. What I've noticed, there's 4 trainers in this field. Kerry Brion, I think I'm saying that right, has the 3, the 4, the 5, and the 6. Jack Fisher has the 1 and the 2. Now, I don't know if it just happens to be that way. And then you have Richard Hendricks, Leslie Young. I don't know if it happened to work out that way or they do that on purpose. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to take Baltimore Bucko over the 6. I think this is a nice exacta you can play, but I'm not going to do it, and I wouldn't recommend it.
Dennis is excited. He said he's hammering the 3-6 exacta and taking a 3-6 with 2-3-4-6-8 exacta and trifecta 3-6, 2-3-4-6-8, 2-3-4-6-8. Dennis is not taking your advice to find money on the floor and go buy something with it instead of playing this race. He's ignoring Ricky once again. Listen, I'm excited. I've never been more excited for a steeplechase race. Complete honesty. Because I'm ready to see what the Mean Queen's going to do today. I'm pumped, man. But Baltimore Bucko, yeah, that horse won the Grade 1 Smithwick Memorial last time out, right over this course by 5 3/4. Come on. The Mean Queen, she's ready for him. She's ready for the challenge today.
Well, you know why I also like the 3 Baltimore Bucko?
I do.
It's time for football, and the Baltimore Ravens are bucking their way to an AFC championship game. I don't know if that's going to – they got to beat a few teams, but it's a good omen for me. Mean Queen, I don't have anything against. I don't know really anyone with that. It'll be a mean thing to say. So Baltimore Bucko for me. By the way, Dennis, if you forget about your hammer ticket, like 3-6, that's fine. But if you go 3-6 and then all those other numbers underneath, you might lose money. So just be careful. Again, not the hammer ticket. But even with the try ticket, you won't lose money probably, but just be careful it doesn't come in 6-3 because you will lose.
Yeah.
With all those other numbers. So just
listen, let Dennis have his fun. We're talking steeplechase, man.
Well, what would be worse than Dennis doing all the handicapping? Because I'll be the first to admit I didn't even look at the race until you introduced it. What would be worse than Dennis doing the handicapping, hits the ticket, and he lost money or recouped some of the bet? That's not a good feeling. Really, really not. So it's for Dennis. I'm just saying it to try to be a good person. I'm not trying to actively wish that, but
well, here's the deal. It's the main event for me. It's a grade 1 race. It's the Mean Queen returning to where her antics cost her an easy stakes win last time out. She's back. She's getting extra distance. She went 2 16th yesterday, or last time out, 2 3/8 today. The Mean Queen is ready. Hold on. 8 wins, and Mean Queen doesn't hit the board, Jay Will says. Oh, those are fighting words.
Mean 8 win. What do we mean by 8 wins?
I mean the number 8 in this race wins, and Mean Queen does not hit the board, is what he's saying.
Oh, the number 8 wins.
Yeah,
I got it.
Tough day for Ricky today. Really tough day.
I was like 8 wins. What does he mean by 8 wins? Like, we're seeing 8 horses. All right. So yeah, I mean the 8 just lost to 3 of the horses that you're gonna have to see again. But all right.
Second off a layoff,
I guess.
All right. We're gonna wrap it up with that. We're very excited for the 6 versus the 3. Mean Queen, Baltimore Bucko. Jay Will says, fuck them both. We're gonna take the 8 horse. So we're ready to go. Dropping F-bombs on the Rocket Hour, talking about the steeplechase. All right, we're getting out of here. I have breaking news for everybody though. This is not the only show on the network today. Blinkers off tonight. That's right. Blinkers off tonight, Wednesday night. Jared says he cannot do it on Thursday, so we're doing it tonight. Tonight, Jay Will. I know you're saying let's fucking go about the steeplechase race, but I'm going to pretend you're talking about Blinkers off. Do I know what time Blinkers off is going to happen tonight? No, I don't. But tonight, you can tune in for Blinkers off. We'll be right back here tomorrow with the Rocket Hour. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
No. Well, you're going to laugh. What's more likely to happen? The 4 and Heeman Harkey wins? Or by the time I pass away, Blinkers off has an established time within 3 hours before the start time?
Well, the problem is we really can't know the start time because we don't know when the cards are going to come out. That's the problem. We don't have Saturday cards out yet, and we won't with Del Mar.
Okay, fair. No.
I mean,
okay.
Hell, it may be 8 o'clock before Del Mar gets
take
out.
Today out of it. No, take today out of it. I'm saying on a Thursday when the cards are definitely out.
Yeah, Heeman Harkey, better shot for sure.
Yeah, Heeman Harkey to win that 4 today, or you have one established time before the new year end.
Heeman Harkey to win on the 4. Yeah,
which is shocking because that must be they're both 0%.
Yeah. Listen, Minnesota bred tonight, Star of the North, the queen of Minnesota racing. Look out for her. I think that's the 5th race, maybe. Let's see. It's the 7th race. Star of the North. She's won 8 in a row or 7 in a row. Going to be 8 after tonight. So
the Alligator Hunter. No,
Alligator Hunter.
No, that's race. No. Oh, here we go. Race 7. I'm sorry, I was looking.
Race 7, number 3, Star of the North.
Have they been against? No, not only Minnesota bred, right? Sam Houston races in there. All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll get to talking about that tonight.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we'll be on by the time that runs or not. We'll see. So check out Blinkers Off tonight. It's gonna be a fun one tonight. Check out us tomorrow. We'll be back the late pick 4, and also Magic Mike show going to do the late pick 4 at Del Mar. Only Magic would almost hit for $6,000 at Saratoga and then want to do Del Mar. They're going to do it, so they'll be back as well. Good luck to everybody playing today. Good luck to the Mean Queen, most importantly. Come on, Mean Queen. Keep that jockey on.